Ahead of the 5th biennial Jamaican Diaspora Conference in Montego Bay, prospective participants are turning up the pressure on the government to change the way it treats Jamaicans living overseas. More than 500 participants are registered to attend the conference, slated for the Montego Bay Convention Center from June 17 to 19. And at a Gleaner Editors Forum, members of the Diaspora Board demanded a change in how the government approaches several matters.
The diaspora's potential to me is limitless. For instance, you hear talk of remittances, $2 billion a year. I think that's half the figure that really comes in, because nobody takes into account what we come in and spend on our 2-3 trips a year, what my children spend on their 19 trips a year. Right? I think the government has fallen down for many years on not marketing Jamaica to Jamaicans. The Tourist Board, JAMPRO, these people must remember that when the Americans have stopped coming, we will be coming, and nothing will chase us away. As far as business investment is concerned, with 7 million people living in the diaspora, including Jamaica, 4.5 million of them living outside, Jamaica has a business market, an investment market that's second to none. You just have to look at what the Jews have done for Israel, what China is doing for China, what the Indians are doing for India. We need to harness the diaspora in a big way.
We use one or two, or overuse one or two measurements to determine our character as a diaspora, remittances being the number one. So every time you talk about the potential of the diaspora, you talk about the $2 billion. But there's so much more which we have never really comprehensively examined. You talk about Jamaicans who come here as tourists, as was said earlier. You talk about Jamaicans who invest in terms of building homes, buying real estate. You talk about Jamaicans who have businesses here, who reside abroad, and who have, through that network, created additional opportunities, whether for job creation or otherwise. To my mind, the only way we can have a meaningful discussion on the diaspora and its role and contribution, and to capitalize on a greater role and contribution, is to better appreciate and understand the various aspects or elements of the diaspora.
We accept that the sum total of the diaspora is not remittances. Remittances globally is 425 billion US dollars. So 2 billion is really a fraction of that traffic. 200 billion of that goes to Asia. And if we should assume that the 2 billion US dollars flows back here is, say, 1%, we don't know, right? Then 99% of that is a much larger pie.
Strongest support outside of remittances that we have gotten from the diaspora is really in the area of healthcare and education. We want to consolidate that contribution and at the same time interest them in investments as well, whether it be building up new schools or new hospitals. In the case of diaspora diplomacy, there are issues that affect the diaspora where they are and affect us, so we want to zero in on those. So for instance, we'll be talking about FATCA because that has implications for how the Americans have business transactions in Jamaica and the relationship with the IRS and all of that kind of information.
I believe that if the Jamaican government follow our lead and realizing that we are volunteers, we're not paid to do this, but we put in an awful lot of time and the money in making certain that the biomedical area of Sunnybrook, who has Jamaicans working in there, are
5 of 7 people.
That's right, are willing to partner with us to ensure that Jamaican hospitals reach its full potential to even engage in health tourism. Because I can't think of a better place to recuperate from anything than Jamaica. As long as the bureaucracy does not prevent us from going forward, as long as the ministers that we're calling on to assist take us seriously and say, walk this journey with us, So we are in there for the long haul.